the Crafty Home, and today is Top 5 Wednesday, and I am going to do the, what is it? Well, I'm going to do, everybody's doing, books that take place in your area, country, region, and so I tried to really narrow it down just to like my region, which would be like the Pacific Northwest. I know there are probably tons out there. I only came up with, well, 3 like titles and then 1 author who many of her books were written in Oregon. Actually, a lot of these people, a lot of their books were written in Oregon. These are just ones I knew. There's lots of them. I mean, let's be honest. But yeah, so let's get on with this. First is Almost Anything written by Beverly Cleary. She is actually was from Portland, Oregon, and I think it's the Dear Mr. Henshaw, or maybe, no, that's not, maybe that's it. One of these, now I can't remember which one it is, has like a, there is a library that has a map of like where this took place. I think it's this one, and it took place around where she lived in the part of Portland that she lived in. There is a library like dedicated to her with pictures and stuff in it of her time, and then there is also a park with characters from her books. I don't know if it's called Beverly Cleary Park or not. Someday I am going to go up there. I go to Portland frequently. One of my very best friends lives up there, and so I'm gonna go to those places and film them. But anyway, yeah, so there's a library, there's a park, all in Oregon. Beverly Cleary, love her, and she's from my home state, so that just makes it super cool. The other authors, actually, coincidentally, are also from my home state. They're from Oregon. So, well, that's not true. One of them, I believe, lives in Washington, but like right over the river. If you're not familiar with Oregon, at the top where Portland is, and it's Oregon, not Oregon, where Portland is, there's the Willamette, or not the Willamette, forget I said that, the Columbia River. And actually, like, where it meets the ocean is where the Coast Guard people like do their heavy intensive training, because it is so bad right there. That's where they do their training, and like we've gone to a museum that's there that talks about that. But anyway, so there's the Columbia, it's a huge river, and there's a bridge, and halfway across the Columbia River you go into Vancouver, Washington. So like they kind of share like one big metropolitan area, although there's quite a different feel between Portland and Vancouver. But like a lot of people that live in Vancouver work in Portland and vice versa, and like there's sales tax in Vancouver, so some people come over, although I think they were going to try to make a way to stop that. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, but first, now that I've rambled on about that, the next book, actually the first one that came to mind when I thought of books set in Oregon, or in my area, because it's not technically in Oregon, is Where Lilacs Still Bloom by Jane Kirkpatrick. I loved this book, partly because set in somebody's, her name is Hulda Klager's garden, and you can get to it in, I looked it up, in Woodland, Washington, and I have been there when I lived in Vancouver to finish my schooling. It's called the Hulda Klager Lilac Gardens, and when lilacs are blooming, it is the most gorgeous place in the whole world. It's so pretty, and this book is set there, and so this book really holds a special place in my heart because I've actually like been there, and it's a really good book. And Jane Kirkpatrick also wrote another book. I do not have it. I need to get it, but I'll put a picture of it up here. It's A Gathering of Finches. I did not know it's like the 3rd in a series, but it's one of those series I think where you can read each one separately. They just kind of have the same theme. It's like, I think it's the Dream Hunters series. But that one is actually set back when my specific town was created. And so it talks about the guy, sorry, excuse me, I just drank some soda and I'm burping, who created, he didn't create it, God created it, but the person who came and like founded our city, Mr. Simpson. We have like Simpson Park in town, and we have Short Acres, which is like the grounds that they used to live on, and it's really interesting. Anyway, this book is like set during that time with him as one of the characters. So it is super cool to read, especially, it's a great book, first of all, but it's set like in my hometown, which is so cool. So I love that book. And then Karen Kingsbury is the third author who I was telling you about, who lives in Vancouver from what I understand. My ex-sister-in-law actually used to go to church with her, which is like, oh my goodness sakes. So it just blows my mind. She is extremely popular, fabulous Christian author, but this is one of the books for sure. A lot of them are set, as you read them, you're like, yeah, set in the Pacific Northwest, where I'm not sure. So a lot of her books are, but Gideon's Gift in particular is set in Oregon. This is one of my favorite Christmas gifts. It's the start of the Red Glove series. I read them every year at Christmas time. They're just a set of novellas, but yeah. So, but most anything from Karen Kingsbury. So there are 4, except that, like, if you count Beverly Cleary, like, a lot of her books are set in Oregon. Well, then that's more than 5. So yeah, I'm kind of stretching the whole top 5 thing today. But anyway, those are some of my favorite books that are set in my area. And if you've done this video, definitely link it down below. I would love to see it, especially if you've kind of narrowed your scope, not just to like the US, but you know, well, if you live in Australia, that's cool because that's like a smaller area, I think. Smaller than the US. Wow, I'm really showing my stupidity. Yeah, of course it is. So, but yeah, like, especially if you've like narrowed it down to your area, if you live in the US, I'd really be interested to like see your take on things. I'm really talking a lot with my hands at the moment. All right, so that's my top 5 Wednesday, and yeah, if you've read any of these, or if you know of other books set in my area in the Pacific Northwest, I would love to know about them, especially specifically if they're set in Oregon or on the Oregon coast. Even more specifically, I would love to know about them. And until next time, I'll chat with y'all later. Bye.